Welcome to the Portal Podcast on Intune by Britt, your gateway to energy, abundance, and next level freedom. I'm Britt, and here we merge spiritual alignment with practical systems so you can expand your impact, your intuition, and your income. So take a deep breath, tune in, and let's step through the portal together. Welcome back to the Portal Podcast, and today's episode is all about your visibility edge and how I'm stepping into my no excuses era, inspired by Cardi B, which I'll explain later. But really, I've been doing this money minting challenge for 40 days with so many in the community. If you're in there, I have just been loving this challenge more than anything I've done in a very long time. And if you're not in, I'll put in the show notes how you can get on the wait list for the next one. But I'm leaving these voice memos every day, and we're working on doing prosperity meditations and going deep inwardly with our energy work to open up the prosperity channels, to open up our mind into an abundant state. And we're showing up every day in more visibility and really pushing our visibility's edges. And that's different for every single person. So on the way here to do this podcast, I was doing my daily voice memos. We have a Telegram group, and I give daily prompts, daily inspiration, things to really support people as we're going into this work and implementing what I'm sharing in the workshops and such. And today is day 20 of the Money Minting Challenge. So we're halfway there, and it's really this turning point. And I started talking about our visibility edge and what that means. And it was, I think, a 12-minute voice memo. And I was like, you know what? I just need to do a full podcast episode on this because I had a huge epiphany on how life-changing it is when we fully understand what it means to be on the edge of your visibility and to continue to push it and what that means. Because visibility is the new currency in this technological age. It's extremely valuable to be visible and to have communities and to speak up and share and have your voice be heard and your face be seen and known. And it can really help you in so many different ways and help so many people that your message and your voice ripples out to. So what I've been noticing with so many people in money minting and also just working with clients in my mastermind is so many people think that they're inconsistent, but really they're just at this edge of visibility and what feels comfortable for them. They're just stopping at their edge, what's uncomfortable, and calling it something else. And so let's talk about what does your visibility edge mean? It means the point of being visible that feels uncomfortable for you. So we all have different edges in all areas of our life. But when we look at visibility, being seen, being heard, putting yourself out there, sharing on social media or creating an offer or whatever that looks like for you to be more visible from where you're at now to get to that next level of where you want to go. The visibility edge is what is that threshold of where it feels uncomfortable? And instead of stopping and shrinking there or just staying at the current level, how can you look at pushing past that level of discomfort? Because that is where all of the things that you want lie. And it's riding that razor's edge to get to the next level. So what I see a lot, especially with light workers that have offers or courses or are wanting to grow on social media, is it can be really scary to show up online consistently, to show up on social media, to share an offer. And if you're showing up and you post a reel, for example, and you're not getting the likes that you want or the comments that you want, or you share about an offer and you're not getting as many signups as you want, then that feels really uncomfortable. And so you have two choices. You can either shrink and not post as much or be less confident or just kind of show up when you feel like it or feel like maybe I should go on another platform. Maybe this isn't the right offer. Maybe this isn't right for me. And that's what happens to a lot of people. They hit their edge of discomfort and then they shrink and they come up with all of these excuses why not. But what we're really being asked to do when we hit those levels of discomfort is double down and expand and continue to get more uncomfortable. So if you picture two people, picture one person who starts showing up on social media or is showing up online and they're sharing messages and they're just really extremely confident no matter who comments, no matter how many people buy, no matter what their engagement is, and they're just doubling down, showing up as confident as hell. They're really magnetizing you. They're resonating with you. You're interested in what they're saying. Do you think that person is going to hit their goals faster? Or do you think a person here on the other side who starts to shrink and show up inconsistently and be more insecure and not as confident, and where you can tell that they're not really sure of themselves or what they're talking about, and if they're kind of bouncing all around and you don't see them for a while and then they come back and they shared about something they have and then you don't hear them invite you to it or talk about it again for a long time. Which person do you think, and their engagement is the exact same, the results are the exact same, which person do you think is going to break through their visibility edge, break through the discomfort and get to the other side of bigger levels of results and visibility? Person A or person B? So obviously there's a lot of factors involved, but I guarantee you this person A over here who keeps showing up in confidence no matter what, is consistent, is inviting people to come in, is sharing, is following up, like is continuing to keep going no matter what, will have a higher percentage. So I guarantee person A over here who keeps showing up no matter what will have a higher percentage of getting results faster versus person B. Now, there are no guarantees in life in general with anything, but what I try to do is just give myself a higher percentage, a higher probability of success. Okay. So even though it's safer and it feels more comfortable to hold back, especially when you're not getting the results that you want, or especially when things feel uncomfortable, that's the time to really double down. And here's the reason why, because so many people think like, I need a different niche, or, I need to figure out better content or be better on screen or have whatever, better microphones, better lighting, better this, better that, or I need to be more clear first, or I need to have everything in this perfect setting before I start sharing, or before I'm more consistent, or before I invite people into my offer. But what I actually see is holding people back more than any of those things is not allowing their results and their visibility to compound enough to actually be seen in a big enough way to then get results. So let that land. Let that land. This is the truth. They stop trying before the results compound. So just feel into if this feels true for you. Are you thinking that you're stuck, but you're actually pulling back? And when we pull back, that's an energy. That's on the opposite side of visibility. Pulling back is in lack. Pulling back is in fear. Pulling back is in doubt, insecurity. All of those lower vibrational, lower frequency emotions that aren't as magnetic as on the other side of that. So the opposite of pulling back is showing up fully, being fully expressed, expressing yourself more, regardless of an attachment to a specific outcome, regardless of an attachment to validation from the outer reality. And when you can be in that energy of abundance, of visibility, of courage, of expression, that magnetizing energy compounds over time. And as it compounds, you're able to be visible to the right people. So obviously being visible to the right people is a really big part of this. And that's one of the things that I have honed in on over the years and that I really help my clients with. So that is another topic and a really big part of the picture, but the visibility part is even more important. So if I'm working with somebody that is willing to double down, even when it's uncomfortable on the visibility, that's so much more to work with. And we can hone in on the person that's ready to buy. We can hone in on the ideal client. We can hone in on the luxury buyer, the buyer who is making moves and is not stuck in fear and is ready to go, and magnetizing and showing up to attract that type of person, that type of client, that type of buyer, that type of community. But we really need to get this visibility piece down first, because if you don't have the community and you don't have the people, then it makes all the other steps really challenging, right? So they definitely go hand in hand on like who you're talking about and who you're talking to and the visibility. And I'll dive more into that deeper. And I'm diving into that in a big way in Money Minting. But having these two components is two of the biggest things that can really help you to skyrocket, go to the moon, and really experience the visibility that you're meant to receive. So if you have gifts, if you know that you're meant to share a message, if you have something that you really wish more people knew about, or you wish you could help more people with, then you are being called to more visibility. Okay. So what does hitting your visibility edge actually look like? Because I want you to be able to understand when it's happening, what it is, so that you can name it, be aware of it, and choose a different action. Okay. So hitting your edge can look like overthinking. It can look like perfectionism. It can feel like avoidance. It can feel like not following through. So say you wanted to start a YouTube channel, but you just keep overthinking it and you never actually create it, or you've been thinking about it for years and you just keep letting it run in your mind without actually doing it. And you're letting your visibility edge stop you from getting started. Wanting to disappear, wanting to not be seen, wishing that, people weren't watching your videos actually, even after you're creating them. Suddenly feeling like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not passionate about this. This doesn't feel aligned anymore. That can definitely be something that can come in. Boredom is definitely a big human emotion that's more in the middle when we look at all of the emotions in the form of frequencies. And it's easy if you feel bored, or if you feel like, oh, I've been talking about this for a long time and I'm not getting the visibility that I want. It can be easy to spiral downward and to just stay stuck without moving through that visibility edge. So also second guessing everything, like letting your mind take over, letting the monkey mind run the show, having 100 thoughts about all these things and second guessing yourself if you should be doing this, if you're talking to the right person, if you have the right offer, if you're saying it in a way that people like, and then you start second guessing yourself sometimes, like, am I pretty enough? Do I have whatever, the presence enough? Do people care about what I'm saying? All these things. You can start second guessing, doubting, and that doubt can turn into fear, and that fear can turn into all these other things, right? This is the thing. The moment that you want to stop is usually the moment that you're about to expand. And so the practice here is to identify, name, and see with as much love as possible when you're starting to hit the visibility edges that you have, and choosing in those moments to continue to move forward despite anything that is in your physical reality. And that can be the hardest thing for humans. It's so hard sometimes to keep going, to double down, to show up anyways when the evidence is not yet here in your physical reality. But when you're able to show up regardless of the evidence is when you're able to start to see more and more evidence. And when you see more and more evidence, then you start to have more proof. And when you have more proof, then you are able to increase your belief around what's possible. And having belief and increasing your levels of belief is a really powerful force to help you to manifest what you want into your reality. So it's all so interconnected with manifestations and visibility and having this edge and moving through the edges and continue to show up even when there's not evidence in your reality. And here's a spicy part to this whole topic is excuses. So I mentioned the Cardi B podcast that I was listening to with Emma Grade. And they were talking about excuses, and Cardi B just kind of came in. I think Emma asked her, like, what do you want all women to know? And she just went on this whole rant around, nobody cares if you have kids. Nobody cares everything going on in your personal life. Nobody cares about all the excuses that you could come up with. And she said, you have to move forward regardless. And she has 4 kids, and I don't know how many millions she's making. She's obviously very visible, regardless of if you love her or hate her. She's very visible, and she definitely spreads some positive messages. And she just had this beautiful message, I thought, that really resonated with me. That was, we cannot let our excuses dictate our actions and dictate our results. And it's easy to go into victimhood, to go into excuses, to let your challenges or your current situation or current circumstances get in the way of moving past your current visibility edge. But if we feed those excuses and we feed that lack and those challenges and the doubt and the fear, then we just allow all of that to grow and we can stay stuck in those places versus doing it anyways, doing it in the midst of challenges, in the midst of struggles, in the midst of not the best circumstances, and allowing ourselves to not feed into the excuses and push past that doubt and fear and continue to be more and more visible and continuing to know your worth. Because when you know how worthy you are and you know you're a badass and you have something incredible to share, and when you lean into how incredible you are and what you have to share and how valuable it is and how honored, you are to have this message and for the people receiving it to receive it, then you really become a magnet to other people that are more visible, other people that are on the same frequency as you. And what I've found is the more that I connect with more people who are more visible and who are attracted to me and I'm attracted to them because of their light, something that resonates in both of us, then we can get into more co-creation. And, that's what the podcast was for me before. That's what it continues to be. And I've seen it so many times in my life that when I push past my visibility edge, I'm able to become more visible. And then I resonate with other people that are more visible, whether it's clients, friends, people that can help my career or my mission or my gifts. And we can just help each other to expand and grow and grow and grow. So it's this beautiful prosperity flower energy where it's just blooming like a flower, the prosperity energy when we push past our visibility edge. And we do it anyways, and we just keep showing up and we actually double down when we feel uncomfortable versus shrinking and hiding. So of course, it's so easy to come up with excuses. I could come up with a million of them every day. I don't have time. I don't know what to post. I need to get clearer first. The algorithm sucks. I'm just not feeling it today. I'm on my period, whatever it is. Thousands of excuses that we could come up with, right? So the energy work, doing the meditations for me really helped me to get in a frequency where the excuses are not running the show, where I take myself to a higher consciousness, where I'm running more in abundance, more on possibility, more on what I'm wanting versus feeding those excuses and the lack. So doing the daily meditation, having practices in the morning, whether it's a walk, Obviously, the Kundalini is extremely powerful and clears the subconscious and helps to get out of your head and to quiet the thoughts and the monkey mind so that you can be in a more neutral mind space, a more neutral state, so that you're able to think clearly, right? And see the different choices and be present enough to choose. And just know that we have the power to choose a different choice each and every day, despite what we chose yesterday or what we chose before. And it's not to shame yourself or shame anyone. It's just the truth of like, oftentimes, most excuses are discomfort in disguise, and discomfort is challenging. Nobody wants to be uncomfortable. Everybody wants to be comfortable, but the way that we get more and more visible, more and more comfortable, and manifest what we want is moving through the discomfort. So it's one of those chicken or the egg type of things. So if we're shying away from discomfort, we're going to never be as comfortable in the higher states of what we want, unless we're just okay with staying where we're at for our whole life. But most of us are going for something bigger than that. So yeah, even though the excuses can sometimes logically feel very justified and very real, and we can really convince ourselves that they're fully true, oftentimes it is just keeping us safe and trying to keep us safe. And that's what the ego does. That's, the protection, like survival mechanism inside of us and what it does. But they do keep us stuck. They keep us stuck and they keep us where we're at. So what I feel and know to be true, because I've seen it with myself and I've seen it with so many other people now, that if you want it bad enough, you will make it happen. If you want it bad enough, you'll find a freaking way, no matter what. Even if you feel like there's no way in hell it's possible in any regards. If you want it bad enough, you will literally find a way. And people have done crazy things. And, if you had to, whatever, come up with a certain amount of money because if somebody's life depended on it, I bet you would find a way. Right. And so we just have to understand that, like, yes, the excuses can feel real, but if we're focusing on wanting it bad enough and focusing on doing whatever it takes to get what we want and to really put ourselves out there and share our gifts and share our voice and share our stories and do what we came here to do. If you feel like you have this mission or you have this purpose or you're meant to share something and do something, then if you want it bad enough, you'll find a way. And that's when we can choose to not listen to the excuses and continue to figure it out as we go. So just remember, it's your brain's job to keep you safe, not successful, because visibility can equal a perceived risk to the brain. And whenever there's a perceived risk, our survival mechanisms kick in, just like if you were being chased by a lion, with that primal energy that we have within us, and it will try to keep you safe. But we have to tell our brain, I'm safe. It's okay. I'm not going to die. I'm not going to get eaten by a lion, and show up anyways, right? And that's oftentimes when our nervous system is expanding. So those excuses will come in, and they come in like a perceived risk, and the nervous system is asking to expand. And when you practice not falling victim to the excuses, and when you practice taking action regardless of the excuses, then that's when we allow our nervous system to feel safe at higher and higher levels of visibility without it signaling and triggering it being a perceived risk. And then obviously there's tons of different levels that you could go, right? Maybe you become comfortable posting on social media every day, but would you feel as comfortable on Good Morning America? You would probably see that as a perceived risk. You'd probably have some nervousness. You'd probably have some excuses. You would probably have some fear come in. But if you were on Good Morning America 3 times, 5 times, 7 times, your nervous system would regulate. And that might not seem as much of a perceived risk for you, right? So we're just continuing to elevate what feels comfortable and what feels safe for us. So for me, there's been so many times when I've felt frustrated with social media, or I've wanted something beyond what my current reality was, and I could have easily spiraled, and oftentimes I did in some ways a little bit, but it's this practice that I have of always pulling myself back and never giving up and having this keep up spirit of like, I'm going to keep up. I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to continue raising my frequency. I'm going to continue to lean into this discomfort and post anyways, show up anyways, invite people into this offer, create, whatever it is that I'm creating, bring the podcast back, do the event, do the retreat, do the teacher training, which I announced, if you guys didn't see, that my Kundalini teacher training is kicking off September 2026. So I'll leave the link for that below. But, I have so many examples in my life of when it would have felt easier to stay where I'm at or, listen to the excuses. But I've found that it's a practice, and I continue to train my brain and to train myself. And it's so incredibly rewarding on the other side when I'm able to hear all these stories of people that are expanding. I mean, just in money minting alone, being at day 20, the amount of stories that people have shared are like, they're so miraculous. Just crazy stories. Heather, she's in my mastermind as well. She did the Jupiter business meditation. We're doing it on Thursdays in money minting. Right after she finished the Jupiter business meditation, she had someone sign up for her retreat. And she said that something she's been wanting and manifesting for over a year happened. And I've been meaning to ask her what it was. I'm so curious. I'm like, what was it? You were waiting for a year. But she said it just dropped in. I had another girl who said she thought she was going to owe this certain high amount for her taxes, and she actually got around that same amount back for her taxes. And it was kind of this thing that she felt like was a miracle that she didn't think was a possibility. There's so many stories in money minting from people just showing up in more visibility for 20 days, getting uncomfortable, posting online. People are getting tons more followers. They're getting people signing new clients. One girl signed a huge new client I think she said she hadn't been signing new clients for a really long time. She had stopped for a few years, and she got like one of her biggest clients ever. So there's just all these stories that can happen really fast when you push your visibility's edge and when you show up even when you don't want to. And, that's why I love to do it in community, because having accountability, having support, inspiration, mentors to help you when you kind of reach those edges and want to stop can be so helpful and continues to be so helpful for me. So that's why I like to also create it for you guys, for the community, and also for myself. It gives me back so much. So yeah, to just wrap all of this up, money follows visibility. Money is a currency. Visibility is a currency. It's all connected. It's all tied together. And it's really incredible. When we have more visibility, we have more trust. People see us more. We're more top of mind. They get to know us more. They trust us. They resonate with us if they do. And then that leads to you being able to invite people to go deeper, receive more of a transformation with you, and to have an exchange, a financial exchange for receiving that from you and from you giving your service, your gifts to them. So I just encourage you to continue pushing past your visibility edge no matter what. So many people never break through to that other side of getting more visible because they choose comfort. And a lot of times it's subconscious. You're choosing comfort subconsciously and you're not consciously aware that you're doing it. But once you start paying attention, then you can see it really clearly. So whenever you feel like you're hitting your edges of visibility, it's not a sign to stop. It's literally a doorway. So just think of it as a door opening into your next realm, your next expansion, your next manifestation, and just go through the doorway, no matter what your mind's saying, And I really hope that this serves you. Comment below your biggest takeaways. Comment below and let me know where you're at with your visibility, what your goals are. I'm super excited to help more of you to push past these discomfort levels, these visibility edges to get to where you want to be, because it's one of my greatest passions and missions is to help more light workers get more light, more love, more good things, and more positive impact out into the world, because we truly need it right now. All right. Sending you guys so much love. Come back for the next episode and I'll see you soon. Thank you for stepping through the portal with me today. If you loved this episode, I would so appreciate you leaving a review and email it to podcast@intunebybritt.com to grab my free spiritual CEO guide, ChatGPT prompts for content and daily schedules and checklists, and my morning ritual checklist to help you to stay aligned and in flow. Come back for the next episode and let's keep rising, expanding, and flowing together through the portal. Satnam, lots of love.